They started believing that we can be a center of excellence, we can build capabilities. One thing which is important is that you embrace change. Create an ecosystem where you have good partners, create a very strong talent pipeline. Get a seat on the table on the board.
My dear friends, industry colleagues, GCC leaders, experts, my name is Rakesh and welcome to this episode of Beyond Boundaries with Alice. I'm honored and privileged to be here today at Adani GCC to meet with one of the finest leaders from the GCC space, somebody who has achieved a lot in his journey and now on a mission to create a very powerful GCC for a complex organization, Dr. Sanjeev Rastogi. I'm really honored to be here, Sanjeev. Thank you for...
Hey Rakesh, good afternoon and nice to see you. It's such a privilege to have you here today.
Very nice. Thank you, Sanjeev. Lovely to be here.
Thank you.
So we'll have conversations today, learning more about you as a leader. We'll have an opportunity to know about the mission which you are on right now and some of your takeaways in terms of how do you see this entire GCC industry is going to evolve and shape into. That's what we're going to spend some time.
Sure, absolutely. It'll be an honor and privilege to talk to you.
Sanjeev, I think you have seen this industry for more than 3 decades now, the way it has evolved, and someone like you who has played multiple leadership roles in terms of driving GCCs, starting the GCCs from scratch, and now on a mission like an Adani. It'll be helpful to have some reflections from you. In terms of this journey, I'm sure there would have been some of those turning points in your career which would have helped you to navigate your journey into what you are today. It will be helpful to hear some of those reflections from you.
I think, as you rightly said, Rakesh, 30 years, at least 6-7 companies, different sectors. Started my career way back in early 90s with American Express. I think that time the focus was creating shared services and looking at India's talent, English-speaking workforce, cost arbitrage, and managing processes which could be more transactional, could be done remotely. And things started evolving after that. And from more transactional, still started believing that other than finance, there's an area where we can bring in. So started coming in HR, then came procurement or PR to PO process, and then came insurance, and the industry started moving. But still the concept was from North America to Europe, the language availability, the talent pool, and I guess the cost arbitrage. But as you moved along and we came along, the third-party companies, the BPOs came into picture existence, and they started offering these services at a much larger scale with scalability, much larger cost, and of course there was not much of digital intervention, but the company started offering investments into technology to do this process much smartly, efficiency and effectiveness. But in the year 2010 onwards, there was a big intervention of technology, and the focus moved from creating value for the group and the parent companies. And especially in the GCC, they started believing that we can be a center of excellence, we can build capabilities, and we can start creating GPOs, the global process organizations here. And the ownership started transferring here. So from a typical site model, local governance only being here, we started owning processes, we started owning technology, we started owning end-to-end process view. And come 2015, etc., I think India became the hub, and there were other satellite centers which started operating.
Right.
So you could see the transition and the transformation happening, and the focus moved to automation and transformation creating value, and data became the crux of the GCCs, that what insights we can bring, how we can do data, and can we do follow the sun approach, and that started coming into the picture. And if I talk about last 6-7 years, I think it's all about the capability building which has happened in last 6-7 years, and various streams. So we have moved up pretty much into R&D, we have moved up pretty much into innovation, we have moved up pretty much creating excellent end-to-end view running from here. So if you look at large IT companies,
Right.
the entire development is happening from here, the entire product development, the product life cycle. So everything has moved. And you will look at automotive,
Right.
the complete R&D is here, the complete engineering R&D is here, the medical transcription, the entire medical back office is here. And with Deloitte, I think it became the global hub for consulting. And with most of the big fours, the consulting core job, rather than the client facing, everything moved here, back end,
Very true. Very true.
in terms of implementation. In my current role, which is a promoter driven in one of the largest conglomerates in the world, and we predominantly a logistics and supply chain and infrastructure company. It's a different view. It's a view where we can enable the business, we can give business insights, and it's not a supporting organization anymore. We are integral part of the business.
Super. So well articulated, Sanjeev, in terms of the way the industry has evolved, and with those shifts happening every 5-7 years and so on and so forth. I think you as a leader have also matured over the years, the way you've seen the industry maturing. Some nuggets from you in your own personal, professional career by saying, these are a few turning points from your point of view, by saying, these are the shifts happening in the industry and how you were evolving as a leader. Share some thoughts.
I think a great question, Rakesh. I think when I joined early 90s, when I joined American Express, I was more focused on my professional efficiency, more on a subject matter expert. And I think the expectation was that as a leader, I would manage a process and a team, but I will be more focused on my deliverables, more KPIs and KRS driven. And as I started moving, I think it was more about managing people, getting delivery in time. So it became more delivery focused. When I moved into my third job, it was that, can we do it at scale? Can we hire the right talent? Can we have something which we can do end to end? And that brought me a different set of leadership. So that brought the process ownership with me. Earlier, I was reporting as globally, but now I became the process owner. I became the owner of the process which I was doing. The fourth phase became that you own the talent, you develop the talent, you groom the talent, and you create a succession planning, and you move up the value chain. It's on you as a leader.
So
and
grooming the people as well.
Yes. So grow that organization, grow the processes, and mature the processes, redefine processes. The last stage came that now you have people who can lead those. You have moved up the value chain. Now you need to look at where you can transform the business, how you can help business succeed, how you can be integrated part of the business itself, and not only running a GCC, not only running a process efficiently. It's all about integrated with business, creating that value, creating that analytics, creating that automation journey and transformation, and help business improve the process. And the last part is that how you embrace new technologies, how you bring that as part of your culture, how you bring operations excellence as part of a culture. And it's not about small improvements. It's re-engineering, and it's completely a paradigm shift, giving business insights, business analytics, and at times sitting on the table with the board, driving decisions and helping the group's vision to achieve. And I think that has been the journey shift and my personal shift, that the different roles have changed.
Right.
So right from just being a people leader to a process owner, to a talent owner, and now owner of the entire process, and now leading transformation and developing new technology and business outcomes.
And in fact, that is exactly where I wanted to further dive into and take maybe a quick few nuggets from you. Is that this is not easy. This is very dynamic. Like I talked about, starting with literally like more a process and delivery to people ownership, grooming them, developing them, and now looking at a business leadership with a business outcome orientation. What do you think you possess as those agilities or leadership abilities which has enabled you to shift so well in these career shifts and the roles. So if you have to reflect and say, oh, there are 4 or 5 key traits which I had or competencies which I developed, which brought me to this kind of dynamic growth. And maybe somebody who's listening now, instead of spending 3 decades, can do it in maybe 2 decades. I don't know, but at least they'll get some.
They can do a decade and a half or decade.
Some traits, some abilities which you like to highlight and share.
I think a very good question, Rakesh. I think when I grew up, the industry started maturing and moving up the value chain. But if I know the industry has matured a lot, there are multiple 1900 GCCs operating in India, and some at different stages. I call them at 4 stages of GCCs: single function, single parent. Second is multifunctional, and the third is more value creation. The fourth is process engineering transformation, and the fifth is commercializing it. Right? Going beyond.
Right.
So what has happened is, as a leader, one thing which is important is that you embrace change. It's going to come very fast. So you need to be agile, you need to be learning, and you need to be aware what's happening around us. Second thing is, you can't do everything on yourself. So engage with relevant partners, create an ecosystem where you have good partners to work with, and then you can create capability and you can work with them and create an ecosystem. Third, create a very strong talent pipeline. Get leaders who are very strong below you so that you can spend time on ideation, you can strategize, and you can spend time on transformation and creating value add, where your leader's next line can take on operations, service delivery, and do this. The fourth thing is, again I say, get a seat on the table on the board to drive strategy, create a blueprint, next 3 years, 5 years, take a senior leadership buy-in, and foster a very strong partnership and relationship with your parent organization. And that's what's important. Don't take what is coming. So showcase what you are capable of, what we can do. And that is very important as a leader, that I challenge the status quo, I work, and I get a seat on the table. I have this. And the last thing what I would say is, have a very compelling vision and strategy to achieve. Have a 3-year or 5-year blueprint.
Right.
And then create an ecosystem where there's a roadmap which is clearly laid out. Adopt new technologies, new age, and get the right skill set of the people. I think upskilling, right skilling is very, very important for the organization to achieve. As a leader, you may have the right vision and strategy, but you don't have the right set of people and the right structure of the organization, you won't be able to deliver this.
Sure. Sanjeev, you highlighted some of the very powerful focus areas for today's GCC leaders, and I think they need to keep absolutely an eye on it. Things like talent, ecosystem, etc. I want to particularly pick these two, the talent and ecosystem. And on talent, as you know, there's a talent war which is on. While on one side we hear about ample talent available, on other side we are finding that somebody is hiring from another organization and they're like, once gain is others loss, and so on and so forth. How do you see the GCC leaders needs to focus on this talent to nurture, cultivate, and develop for the purpose of the organization? Please share your stories and what you are doing now in your organization to nurture and develop the talent.
So Rakesh, I think it's a very pertinent question on attrition. It's something which is hurting most of the GCCs. And the primary reason is that we have a gap from academics to, or from campus to corporate. We are not able to bring people on production on the same day and the same pace. While there's a technology intervention to train people, faster train and bring them on board. But I think with alphas and Gen Zs and Zoomers coming in, I think the challenge has become that how do you retain them, how do you groom them? And by the time they get trained and fully ready to give their best, they decide to move out. And of course, as you rightly said, somebody's gain is somebody's loss. I think the philosophy we are working on is that nurture them from the day one, and you need to have metamorphosis, onboarding. What we do is we are running a very dedicated leadership program. We run through at least 50 odd weeks to them to groom them and to bring them into the fore. And we then plan to give them a career path, that how this career path will move, how the rotations will work, what you will gain, what is your role, and how your role will change and shape up in the next 2 to 3 years. So I think as early as you engage from day one, you bring them on board and you give them a roadmap and a clear outline that what will be your career in 3 years' time and how we see you progressing through your career, and a mechanism to take feedback if things are not going well and people are not interested. I think that feedback mechanism, that looping in, has to happen through the HR, and you need to have an open sessions. You need to give opportunity for people to move around, and we have a very strong and robust IJP process, internal movement process, very strong aligned PMS, performance appraisal systems, and a very curated path, I would say, for the next 3 years for any individual who comes into your organization, coming externally or coming as a fresher. I think that helps manage your attrition, that helps bringing the stickiness into the organization, and they also see a roadmap for them. And why most of the people are leaving today, because they feel stuck at the current job, they don't see a value in them, and their CV doesn't talk about any creativity, anything which they have learned new. And I think learning is a norm. So a strong L&D program, investment in upskilling people, and creating a curated path for them over 3 to 5 years, I think definitely helps us to reduce attrition. I'm saying in this industry, a double-digit figure or 15 to 20% is a given norm. But if you can manage your top talent within 5 to 10%, I think you have done a very decent job. Overall attrition between 12 to 15%, because there are some non-performers you like them to ease out of the system. But anything around 12 to 15% is a good number. But top talent, anything between 5 to 8% is a good number.
I think you mentioned about ecosystem as well. How do you see ecosystem playing a role from a talent and the journey of driving business outcomes? How do you see that?
I think ecosystem stems from the culture of the organization, and I think it comes from the very senior leadership, that how do they see talent, what's the role of a talent, and what can talent play a big role in achieving the objectives, KRAs, KPIs and goals of the organization. And I think what I have done successfully here in my current role is that a very clear set out vision, KPIs and KRAs, and that stems at each level. So below me, N-1, N-2, N-3, and each one in the organization knows that what is expected of them, what is deliverable of them. For example, my service delivery goals are to an extent, my people goals are my prime, my automation transformation takes major stock of my goals, whereas below 3 levels down, they are more focused on service delivery. So they know what are they're impacting the outcomes, how they are delivering. And I think one of the key things which you have said is customer is the center of everything what we do. Meet your SLA KPIs, be connected to your customer, and we will invest in you, we'll upskill you, we'll give you a different set of roles and all that. So there's a complete ecosystem you need to create. So the people management is not about only measuring goals and doing PMS. It's all about retaining talent, investing in them, tracking your KPIs on L&D, tracking your KPIs how that top talent is moving. And the most important thing is having a very robust individual development planning, so that the person knows, yes, there's a very fixed commitment of the organization leadership to develop in me, to invest in me, and then track the growth path, the trajectory. And I think if we have succeeded in mapping all our top talent and people who are not performing well to come up to the curve, I think we have done a great job in giving them the roadmap how to succeed in the organization, giving them the platform to learn, giving them platform to succeed.
No, absolutely lovely. I think, and that's where I think the internal leadership, the sponsorship top down makes a huge difference to really drive some of the things which you mentioned. No, I think the kind of things which is happening in the industry now, everybody's talking about this whole artificial intelligence, that kind of a leap it is taking, and the kind of threat which is also it's bringing to the people. There's a lot of skepticism in the mind, a lot of anxiety in the mind. How do you see these two dimensions running in parallel? One is where as an organization and the leader, you have to take a leap on the AI and drive the digital maturity. And the second side, manage that anxiety and the people challenges. Both are running in parallel. So how do you see this too?
I think a very pertinent question in today's world. As a leader, I think what comes to my mind is AI first. And I think that's what the message we are getting from our chairman and everybody, that we need to move towards digital and AI and agentic AI now. I think what will happen is that it will definitely change the way we have been working. It will change, it will bring 4 E's into dimension. I'm borrowing what shared services had mastered it. So I'm bringing the 4 E's, which I borrowed from SSF proudly. And Rakesh, you are the pioneer in this industry. So thanks for coining that term. One is the efficiency, effectiveness, I would call as experience and excellence. And I think it will change the whole dimension. So efficiency, all the transactional jobs, I think in next 2 to 3 years will go away. 40% automation, 40% of the workforce those jobs will not exist. But what will happen is that as the people upskill, the different kind of jobs will come into dimension, which is more business data insights. People have to upskill themselves to use more data to impact the business outcomes. And what we are looking at is that we'll be upskilling people, giving them the jobs which involves data analysis and impacting business outcomes and partnering with them. And it will become more information and data driven, more digital kind of interventions rather than just doing and processing the jobs. And I think that's a good thing for the industry and for the talent as well, because one, they will learn new skills, you will create more value add, faster decision making, good business insights, and saving business the botheration of why it is taking so much of time, what's happening, and cutting out the bureaucracy in the processes. And I think that is the way I see. So AI will definitely replace the transactional work, and 40% of jobs at the transaction level, manual capture, and that will go away. But more analytical, more analysis, the different skill sets will come into picture. And I think we'll have to, take out the fear of the people that you all will have jobs, you need to invest in yourself, you need to upskill yourself, and we'll have to reskill themselves. Sure. But everybody will have a job.
Well, that's a very powerful statement which you're making, Sanjeev. Two parts to it. And as I said, there's two parallel tracks running. So AI first, and AI will pretty much take away this 40% of the operational jobs, if I had to say that. And there's a need for the people to upskill. They need to invest their own self in terms of learning something new, and organizations also need to reskill and take this fear away. They will have opportunities, a lot of opportunities to be part of that journey. Now that brings to the end of the conversation. Just want to take some thoughts from you in terms of if you had to give some top 3 or 4 nuggets or the takeaways for the mid leaders in the GCC space today who are aspiring to take over the roles like which you are playing now. What kind of message, as an actionable message, you would like to give it to these leaders by saying, focus on these 3-4 specific areas, more from a leadership point of view?
I think 4 things I would say. One, be a change agent. Be ready for change, adopt new technologies, don't resist. Second thing is invest in people. And important that you are with the people and you are leading the change. The third is be an influencer. Upwards, not downwards, but upwards with your global leadership, with the global people and the seniors you work with. And the last one is create a value story. And that's important. If you don't have value, if you're just keep doing work very efficiently, you will not sustain long term. So today's GCC, the success story, the success mantra is value. Absolutely. Very well said. I'm sure there's a huge opportunity for the mid leaders to learn from some of the nuggets and actionable what we heard from just now a dear friend and a very accomplished professional and GCC leader, Dr. Sanjeev Rastogi. I think his experience matters a lot for many of us to take some of these with us and see how we can make our GCC and the industry, GCC as an industry, much more meaningful for each one of us. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you, Sanjeev. And I wish you the best for the kind of mission you are on. I know it's a very complex journey which you have taken in terms of the kind of organization, very entrepreneur, as you mentioned, and multi-process, multi-function journey. Wish you all the best. Thank you, Rakesh. You have been a great support, and I always look forward to SSF leading this GCC journey. And I've learned a lot from SSF, and I want to get the partnership going with you. Very nice. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you.
you.